Well, here we are again. It's Friday, August 21st, 2026, and this is the weekly auction video. We do them every Friday. If you're new here, welcome. Subscribe if you'd like, if you enjoy what you see. And every week we go through and we take a look at the Asian art market, the carpet market, American antiques from time to time, European antiques from time to time, see what's going on with those places because they all influence each other. And this week, for the last month, we've seen, of course, as I've said so many times, very few auctions coming along because most of Europe, you won't find auctions really going on in the summer months. And now that summer's coming to an end, as expected, a bunch of auctions turned up this week. It was quite impressive, and I think there'll be a lot more next week. We're going to go through them. Some very interesting items coming up here and in the UK, and we're going to take a look at. There's a new auction house in Florida. I've been in touch with the guy. He called me up. He's very nice, and the auction house is called Hutson Hill, and we're going to take a look at some of his things. This is his first auction, so I hope you give him a shot and take a look at it. Akiba's got a good sale coming up. It's more of the things from the collection of a very long-standing dealer. We talked about it before. We actually did a independent video on it for Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg's a very well-known collector and dealer up in New York State or Pennsylvania, and he's been around for years. He handles great things. He's got a good eye. Chiswicks has got a fascinating sale coming up. Austin Auction and Galleries has got a sale coming up. Heritage has a sale, and Louis Dieger has one also. And they all have nice things in them, and I want you to pay attention to them if you're looking to buy things, because you're going to get into the autumn season here. Asia Week is coming up, and there's going to be a lot going on. All over the place. You're going to see a lot of material come onto the market as we do every fall. It's going to be fun. It's always fun. It's always fun when that happens. But before we get into those, I just want to go over a quick results from last week from the few sales that did take place. There wasn't a lot, but there were a few things. One of them was this inkwell standish, as they call them, and this they called it a porcelain desk set. It's actually a standish, I believe. This was at Akiba. I thought it was awfully nice and very reasonably estimated at 1,000 to 2,000, and it ended up going for about 1,200 plus premiums, the buyer's premium, which was about $350, so about $1,500 for this. This was a nice piece of porcelain. That was a very interesting example. Beautifully done, good color, very nicely detailed. We talked about it a few weeks ago because these do not turn up very often in any kind of good condition. Usually when they turn up, all the inserts are broken to pieces and glued with hide glue and just a mess. This one I think had a couple of minor repairs to it, but it wasn't much, and it appeared to have been clobbered or had decoration and enamels added to it when it got to Europe. But this was a very good example, probably Kung Shi period. So that was a good buy for somebody. And then this was the sale. This was down at Temuku had some things. They had some things I didn't like. I was a little suspicious of them. But they had a few pretty good pieces thrown in, and we talked about them about 3 weeks ago in the preview sale. One of them was this transitional period brush pot. Very well done. That had a very, very low estimate, $600 to $800. Ended up going for way over that. It ended up going for about 50. Well, that works out to about 5,900, roughly 6,000 almost for this brush pot. It was a good one, and there's a lot of skepticism in the market, as many of you know, about these, and I'm one of them, because so many reproductions have turned up over the last 3 or 4 years. They've really flooded into the market all over the place, and many of them are being peddled as authentic, and they're not. This is a good one, and you remember we got into a little ruckus with the Gallery Zach over in Holland or in Austria over one of these brush pots. But at any rate, that's an old story. They didn't like what I thought. Any rate, this is a very nice example, and it did just fine. It did very well, about almost $6,000. And then there was the Korean bowl that had the white inlay in it. That it was quite nice. Had good color. Had a nice old kintsugi repair, gilt repair, lacquer repair up on the rim. But the decoration was quite good, and the color was good. You'll notice the color in this is quite nice. It's a very pleasing green that they got on it, because sometimes these celadons ones from the Joseon period, they can turn a little brown in places, and that was from variations of heat in the kilns and how the glazes reacted. But this one came through it in pretty good shape, given the time period, the 13th century when it was made. Nice white inlay, no black outlining though. I thought that was sort of interesting. Most of them have a bit of black and a bit of white, especially when they're very, very detailed. This one is quite detailed with the flying phoenixes, the flowers, and everything. It's very neatly inlaid, and I think somebody got a great buy. I think this was a very good thing. It sold for $850 plus the premium, or around $1,000 to $1,100, and I don't think that was a bad buy at all. I think it was a pretty good fair price. 7.5 inches in diameter. Good collector's piece. Good collector's piece. And then there was this other brush pot. This was the footed brush pot that we talked about at Tenmuku. And I noticed somebody was wondering if there was a comment under the video after we did it, wondering if he was speculating if it was authentic or not. I thought it looked absolutely fine, and apparently so did a lot of other people. But I understand his emotion on it because they are very, very difficult to differentiate from the new ones. It's extremely hard in some places. Most of the time, you have to get a hold of the auction house and either arrange to go see it in person, or have them send you some really good outdoor daylight shots of it. Outdoor photographs give you a much clearer understanding of the age of a piece. Indoor, under lighting, all kinds of things can happen under lighting. But this one I thought looked very good. A lot of the details look good. The bottom of it looked very good. The color of the blue, the way the cobalt was layered in, I thought it was a very, very nice pot. The clouds were done properly and so forth. It was well laid out. There's the bottom of it. That looks absolutely fine as transitional to me. That's what they look like. They look a little aged. That's the way they should look. This was also estimated at just $600 to $800, and as you can see, it went way over that. And I think Tenmuku knew that. The auction houses today know that the piece will find its level, no matter what you put on it for an estimate. People who are experienced buyers, especially people in the upper tier things, they know what things are worth, and they don't give one whit what the auction house is putting on it for an estimate. The only thing an estimate could do is discourage them from bidding, because if they see a very high estimate, they probably think there's a very high reserve on it, and if that reserve and the estimate hint to the person that it may be higher than what they think it'll bring, sometimes these estimates can shoot the auction house in the foot, so to speak, and kill the sale. In this case, they gave it a low estimate. They estimated it 6 to 8. Ended up going for 18 plus the premium, or just around $23,000 or $4,000 for this brush pot. But it was a good one. It was a very, very nice one. Very fine quality, I think. And then over to this. Now, this was the Skinner, Bonham's Skinner, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays, sale in Marlborough, Mass. And they had a number of lots that did very well. They did just fine. But they had a number of lots that didn't sell. For whatever reason. And this is one of them. This is a wonderful a Butu rug. It measures 5 by 8'9". This is a good sized rug, and it didn't find a buyer. And I thought the estimate was perfectly reasonable. The quality of the rug looks good. It looks like a 19th century carpet to me. They dated it around 1900, which is fine, late 19th century. The starting price on it was only $500. And if you like this rug, make them an offer of $500 on it. And the reason I say that was there was another rug in the sale, and I was looking for a rug to put in a spot in my own home, and there was another rug in the sale that they had actually mislabeled as being a Turkish rug, and it wasn't, and it didn't sell. And I bought it this morning, and it was estimated at I don't know, $1,000 to $1,500, and I bought it for $400 from them. I just made an inquiry and said, hey, it didn't go through. I can use that rug. And they said, fine. They sent me an invoice. It's already paid for. I'm going to pick it up when I get back from New Hampshire. So at Skinner's, in this case, it sounds like the starting prices might have been close to where the reserve was, if there were reserves. I don't know, but or reserves above the starting price. So if you like this rug, get a hold of them. You go to the contact them, ask question button, send them a message and say you're interested in the rug, and see if you can't get it moving. It'll be shipping from Marlborough, Massachusetts. So if you're in Mass or nearby, drive down and pick the thing up yourself. All right, and then this rug, I think this was that very early rug, very early Food Lion rug. It measured 5 by 8 foot 3. It was a very good looking carpet. A late 18th century. They said 18th century. I think they meant late 18th century. But I thought this was a terrific carpet, and it only sold for about $4,200, including the buyer's premium. I think this was a really good buy. I think somebody fell asleep at the switch here. This was a very, very good buy. The estimate was a good bit higher than that. It was 4 to 8 thousand was 4 to 6 thousand was the estimate on it, and when that I didn't think was at all an unreasonable price, and I wouldn't have been surprised if it went for more. But for whatever reason, it didn't even get to that. It just got up to, with the premium, just a hair over in the low 4,000s, which was a very, very good price. That was a very fair price. Somebody got a great buy. That's my opinion of it. Looked to be in good shape. You could use it, and or hang it, or whatever you want. Hang it like a tapestry. Nice carpet. So do check them out. Always check out the post sales when you see lots that didn't sell, and if you had an interest in them or you bookmark them, don't be shy about going asking the auction house. Very often you can get them. You can get the piece at or below the opening bid. In this case, I got it at the opening bid, which I was perfectly fine to pay. It was a beautiful rug, and it's going to go perfectly where it belongs. I'm going to pick it up the week after I get back from New Hampshire. So anyway, I'm very excited about that. Now this is the some of the pieces from this fellow that's just starting his first auction, Hutson Hill Galleries, and he had been in touch with me while he was putting this sale together. He's new at running auctions, and he's a very nice man. He's a terrific guy. I think he's a real enthusiast, and he helped me. He asked me for a little bit of help on some of the items, and how to do it exactly, because I was in the auction business for quite a while. So I was happy to do it, and he got a hold of me actually over the weekend to tell me that he'd posted this auction. And at the moment he called, I happened to be looking at it because I like to check auctions on Saturdays so I can update the global pages. Anyway, this is one of the plates that's in this sale, one of the porcelains. It's a nice piece of me, and you'll notice everything in the sale starts at $50 and have very reasonable estimates. He's not shooting for the moon on this, and this is all stuff that he bought. Just so you know, all these things, he's a picker. And all of these things he bought between North Carolina, it looks like a lot of it, from talking to him, he got a lot of things in the North Carolina region down through Georgia and into Florida. A lot of New England retirees down here, a lot of Northeast retirees go down there, as everybody knows, and they bring their stuff with them, and then when they pass away, things become available. And there's some great buying opportunities in Florida, just so you know, because there's all this New England stuff, a lot of it ends up down there. Sarasota, Palm Beach, all those places. Anyway, this is a very nice cracked dish, and it's rather interesting because the pattern is good. He said that he looked this up. He found a very similar example in Rinaldi's book on crackwares and Wan Li and all that. And it's rather nice with the two scholars sitting in the middle, loosely drawn, nice little dish, about 8 inches in diameter, $50 opening bid. And then there's this. This is an excellent, if you're a Kutani buyer, absolutely check this thing out. This is a really good piece of Kutani. It's not a giant charger. It's about I think it's, was it 10 inches or something like that? Uh, 8 inches by 1 1/4. But look at the quality of the work on this. The details are excellent. The border decoration is extremely fine. The gilding all looks to be intact. I love the giant peacock in the middle, and then the ascending sparrow. There it is next to a wine bottle. You get a better idea of what it is. But look at that. He even got his own wine bottle with his label on it. Isn't that clever? At any rate, I didn't see that before. A nice decoration, and he provides. One of the things I told him to please do is use a lot, and there's a hanging hook, hanging ring here on the side. I said, be sure to use lots of photographs, and he went wild on the photographs. There's piles of photographs in the sale. You can see every inch of it. It's a very good job. I hope he does well. That's all. I take things like this. I like to see new people come into the auction business, and it is marked on the back. Okay, so this is also starting at $50 with $100 to $300 estimate. Sort of an these are all no brainers. A fairly good sized bronze. This thing is it's a Meiji period bronze. It's sort of in the Ming style, but it's well, he says it's Edo period. Maybe let me take a look. If it's Edo, it's 19th century Edo. Yeah, it could be 19th century Edo. 1840s, 1850s, something like that. But it's very nice quality, and it's about a foot tall. It's good looking. So if you're a Japanese bronze buyer, you might want to look at this. It looks like it's still got some house dirt on it. It looks a little bit as found condition. This would clean up beautifully with a little oil and bring up that patina. This thing would look fantastic. We get that warm, deep cocoa brown color in it. $50 opening bid again. And then this very nice. This is something you got. It's a big birthday silk with a giant Shao character in the middle. How big is this thing? Some of these are enormous. How big is this one? This is a pretty big one. It's 294 centimeters tall. So you divide 294 by 30, about 5 feet tall. This is a pretty big piece of silk, but it's very nice quality. It's got the gilded Shao threads in the middle, and then all the figures going around the outside. Very nice looking. Looks to be in great condition. Um, I don't see any staining. There's no staining on this at all. That's pretty remarkable. I don't see any staining, damage, rips, or indications of dry rot. So it's a good silk. It should bring. Well, you estimate it at 1,500 to 2,500. This does have $100 starting price, which is nothing, as you know. And I don't think 1,500 to 2,500 is all unreasonable. This is a nice big example, and it looks like it's in good shape. So there you go. And then over to Akiba Gallery. This is some of the pieces that are coming up in their sale with the Mark Wahlberg material. And Mark is, well, he's very sharp on Chinese stuff, very sharp. Well, he's sharp on Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. And but he's many people know him as a heavy Japanese dealer. And he did lots of business in New York with the major galleries over the years. He was a source for many of them, and he bought great things. That's why they used him. And he's got this very nice Senin figure in boxwood. It's a beautiful Netsky, wonderful color, good patina. It looks like it's in great shape. The estimate on it is 1,800 to 2,500, which is not out of line for one of this type. And it's 18th century, 18. He's calling it late 18th, early 19th century. Yeah, I would agree completely with that. I would lean more towards 18th century because of the color and the quality of the carving and how it's worn over the years. But either way, it's already got a bid of 500, and I think it's going to get there. This is a very desirable object. If you're getting into collecting Netskis and so forth, you want to pay close attention to this piece. It's a very good one. And there's a very nice Korean jar in here, 19th century Goryeo period, or Joseon period rather. Jar, blue and white, of course, and looks fine all the way around. Nice detail. It's got those crackly lines that you often see in Korean wares, and there's the bottom of it, bit of kiln grit. This is absolutely what you want to see on one of these. The estimate is $1,000 to $2,250 opening bid. It's a nice looking jar. There are not three jars, by the way. These are just the three different sides with the three different characters on it. And I will say though, just out of curiosity, as an aside to all this, in the 1990s, when we were doing auctions, I bought a Korean jar out of a collection that was sort of a taller baluster type jar with a rounded top on it and the sides coming down, identical patterns to these. It's very, almost everything is the same except the vase was maybe a little bit taller. And we sold that in an auction. I threw it into an auction we were running, and it brought 28,000 plus our commission, plus 15% in that auction. So it went for about 32,000. Now, at that time, Korean stuff was extremely hot in the market. And there were around New England here, you could still roam around. A lot of people were unaware that the Korean ceramics took off so heavily. So if you went out and picked around antique shops in particular, you could find old Korean blue and white pieces that were still marked at the prices that they thought they were worth 10 years earlier. And you could get some great buys and make some money. A lot of people made very good money on Korean wares then, because the dealer, retail, general antique dealer market didn't catch on that the prices had changed suddenly, and I mean almost overnight. The Korean stuff went up in value back then, and all kinds of people that were interested in Korean stuff were out running around, hitting shops up and down the coast of Maine, up through central New Hampshire, out in western Mass, in the Sheffield area, all over New England, hitting where all the shops were. Even down in Connecticut near New York. People were finding things, and everybody pretty much cleaned out all the attics around here during that time period, and much of it ended up selling in New York for very, very good amounts. Anyway, this pattern was back to start, was on the one of the vases that we had. We had many of them over those years, but this was just one of them. And then there's this. Now this is a hell of a fine bamboo. Excuse my French. Decorated Korean Goyo wine pot. This is a really good one. Yeah, it's got this very elaborate, very heavily detailed, looks like a fairly old kintsugi repair on it. And the reason it was done was, this is, in the Korean celadon world, this is the finest of the fine. This is about as good as it gets. This was a 13th century example, exceptional quality. It's a melon form with bamboo ribbing down the sides. Let's see here. How big is this thing? I'm trying to find the dimensions. Spout to handle, height 7.7, 7 and 3/4 inches. It's estimated at $8,000 to $15,000 with a $1,000 opening bid. This is a very rare bird. Those of you out there that buy Korean things know what this is. You recognize it instantly. And if you're not that familiar with Korean stuff, this is a very, very lovely example. And the details all look good. The bottom of it looks fine for one of these. You've got the little clay pilings that are left from when they stood it up in the kiln as like supports. Almost like they were sort of like huge spurs, like you see on Japanese things. Anyway, that's a nice thing. And we're probably going to come back next week when I'm in New Hampshire. I've got a few days to spend up there while there's work being done, and I'm going to do some extra videos. And one of the ones I want to do, I'll probably do a little bit deeper dive into the Akiba sale, because I think it's worth looking at. There's some very interesting little pieces, but they take a little bit of attention to focus in on. So I'll do that while I'm up there, among other things. All right, and this is Chiswicks. Now we're on to Chiswicks over in the UK, and this sale, the Akiba sale. If I didn't say, I think I did. It's on September 8th at for this material. It's on the 8th at Akiba, and this sale here for Hutson Galleries it's on Live Auctioneers. It's on September 10th. September 10th. So you have enough time to look into things and get your feet under your time to bid. All right. Now, over here to Chiswicks. Now, this is a good looking auction. It's nearly, I think it's all Japanese. There's a few Korean pieces at the end, but not a lot. But there's some very good pieces of Japanese wares in here. Satsuma, Arita wares. There's a very good early Seto celadon up here, which you don't see these very often. And there's Japanese woodblock prints, Hirado wares, there's all kinds of stuff in here. It's a very interesting auction. Tea-wares, tea bowls, lacquers. There's a big Shagaraki jar in here. It's an early one. It's a 20th century one, but early 20th century one. But it's very, very nicely done. And all of these other pieces, and many of them have their boxes, which is always good with Japanese stuff in particular. There's a good selection of early bronzes, Meiji period, Edo period bronzes, vases. These are some of the lacquers. Tea caddy, tea boxes, and so forth. And that's just on page one. That's all on just page one of this sale. There's a lot of material here. So do check it out. Do check out the Chiswick sale. Yeah, you got to ship it, but boy, there's some nice things in here. And a couple of the pieces we'll focus in on. This is one of the Korean pieces. That's right. There's about six Korean pots on the sale, and they're all very good. They all look absolutely legitimate. This is a 19th century moon flask, pretty rare form for Korean wares. In that bluish white glaze that they did, it looks to be in quite good shape on this side. Bottom looks fine, looks okay. But do look into that. The estimate is very reasonable: 5 to 700 pounds, 500 a 400 pound opening bid. It measures just a hair under 8 inches in height, 9.5 centimeters, which is half a centimeter shy of 8 inches. So it's a pretty good size one. It's very attractive and unusual. It's a rare form thing. If you like rare forms, this is something you want to look at. All right, and then hopping along over to this. This is a very interesting. I did a video this week on the Patreon page. I mentioned a few of these pieces and some other pieces that are in the sale. And this was one of the things that really struck me as interesting. It's a conjoined double gourd vase done in the Amari kilns. And it looks like an Edo period example, not early Edo, but probably circa 1800 Edo or 1810, somewhere around there. Very nicely done, and it's got this warm reddish brown pigment going over it with gilding over it. I think it works out really well, and it's used throughout on the flowers and then around the spouts. But these conjoined double gourd with triple mouth, triple spout vases are pretty rare from the Arita kilns. That's a pretty rare thing, and the estimate is for nothing: 150 to 200 pounds, and it measures what, 8 inches roughly, something like that. 17.5 centimeters, so it measures about 7 inches in height, and it looks to be in good shape. I think that's, if you're an Arita buyer, you definitely want to go after this. That's an interesting object. It's a rare one. There's the Seto jar I mentioned at the beginning. Very nicely done during the Kamakura period, 12th, 14th century, and it measures. What is it, about 10 inches or so, 12 inches, 28 centimeters. It's 11 inches tall, basically. But it's a nice example. It's a classic type of maybe what they call them ko-seto pieces, old seto ware. And you can see the glaze lines running down it when it was fired and everything. It's very, very nice, charming. And there's a very strong aesthetic in these things. For those of you that buy Japanese pottery, you'll probably want it. And then over to this. This is a very nice Kakeemon landscape jar. You'll see pieces like this over in the British museums all the time. Very nice one, and you'll notice it has its lid. These pieces never seem to have their lids, or rarely. It's like out of every 10 ones you see, one of them will have a lid. This one still has it, and of course polychrome decoration. There's a very nice translucent soft yellow in here, and there's a very nice semi-translucent darkish green, but still translucent. And then of course the iron red decoration trimming and so forth. And it measures. How big is this? This is a very rare jar, by the way. It's 16 centimeters in height, so it's about 7 inches tall, just a little hair under 7 inches in height. It's fairly small. It's not a big jar, so it'd be fairly inexpensive to ship. It's got a strong estimate: 4,000 to 5,000 pounds with a 3,200 pound opening bid, or an opening bid of around 4,300 in the U.S. Currency. But this is an extremely rare 17th century type, and if you go through your books at home looking up 17th century Arita and Amari wares and Kakeemon wares, you might find one of them in there. This is very, very rare. Back in the 90s, this probably would have sold for $20,000 or $30,000. Any rate, it's estimated at 4,000 to 5,000 pounds with a starting bid of 4,369. Hold on. Sorry about that. I'm back. It was actually the fellow who's working on the house. His crew is working on our house up in New Hampshire, and they are getting ready. They're prepping the house to restain it and repaint it and do all that. And I'm very excited. I'm going up on either tomorrow or tonight or next day or so, and I'm going to spend the week there. It's going to be fun to watch. So this jar, yeah, it's a great jar. And then hopping along over to The Gerardo vase, a nice looking stick vase, nice looking bottle vase, probably what, about 7 inches tall, roughly, something like that. 9 inches tall. There we go. And it's estimated at 100 to 200 with a 80 $109 opening bid. Nice piece of Gerardo. Very soft blues, as you'd expect on Gerardo porcelains, and really, really, really attractive, tall, extenuated acanthus leaves or bok choy leaves going up the neck of it. And as I said before, this sale's on the 10th of September over in the UK. So check it out. It's good looking auction. There's a bunch of stuff in there. If you buy Japanese stuff, definitely check it out. There's a lot of interesting things in there. And then hopping along over to this sale, this is at Austin Auction Gallery. This is coming up in a couple of days. This is coming up on the 23rd. And there's not a lot in the sale that caught my eye, really, but this did. This is a very nice Buddhist painting in here. It measures 6 feet tall. I love how they put the stick guy in there. But this is a nice picture. This is a very, very attractive picture. It looks to be in very good condition. The colors look nice and soft. I don't see any issues with it. It's got the umbrella over the head and all that business. Now, it is framed, so you're going to have to get it shipped in the frame, I'm afraid. But if you live near here, if you're down, what city are they in? Austin, Texas. They're right in Austin, I guess. You want to go and look at this. This is a nice one. I don't know if they bothered dating it. They probably didn't. It looks like an 18th century or earlier painting. It's hard to tell without seeing it very, very clearly, but it's at least 18th century, could be 17th, even maybe a little before that. But it's an awfully nice painting. If you like Buddhist paintings, I think the estimate is for nothing, $500 to $700 estimate. It's going to go for more than that if anybody's paying attention. It'll probably go for $2,500 to $3,500, somewhere in there. But it's a nice looking bit of work, and it's worth the money. And other things that are coming up. This is. And that sale is on the 23rd of August. That's on the 23rd at, make sure we get the information here, Austin Auction Gallery. And on the 23rd, it's on Live Auctioneers. Just as a little hint, if you want to go see what a particular auction house is doing on Live Auctioneers, and you don't want to go through the index at the bottom of the page where they have a list of all the auction houses, if you just go into Google and type in the name of the auction house, and put in a comma, put in Live Auctioneers, it'll take you directly to their page. You don't have to go through anything. You just get right there that way. All right, now, that's just a little tip. Jeez, what's going on here? Okay, and that was my wife wanting to know if we need tomatoes. I'm sorry, it's just funny. And then we'll get back into the video here. It's one of those days, I'm afraid. You got these very nice. How many vases are there? Is this front and back, or is this, how did they do this? Okay, 7 vases. Here you go. 7 18th century vases. China trade. You got 2 pairs down at the bottom, another pair at the top, and then a single. This is a nice looking grouping. I suspect these are the smaller ones that are 8 or 9 inches. We'll check the height in a second. And these look bigger, of course. That one looks like it might have a bit of restoration to the mouth. You want to check that out. But these are nice looking. They're all from around 1775 to 1785. The estimate is for nothing, $200 to $400, $100 opening bid. Condition, overall slight to moderate wear, consistent with normal use, fading and repairs. I think that's the one on the top of the vase. The biggest vase, is 11 inches tall. So these I suspect are probably the 9 or 10 inch ones, but you might want to call and verify that. But it's a heck of an interest. It's a good lot. That's a good lot, especially if you're a tealer. And this is coming up down at Leonard Auction Galleries on the 26th of this month. But that's a good lot of trying to trade things. I'm a little bit confused as to why they grouped 7 of those together. I don't think they're doing the consignor any favors, but you might have a buying opportunity there. Lots are always, on a per-piece basis, a better buy than buying, a pair of vases, a pair of vases, a pair of vases. Buying them is a lot. For some reason, people go to sleep, they don't calculate it out in their heads what the real value is, and very often they turn into be a great buy. So keep that in mind. Those look pretty good. And then these are also coming up at Leonard's on the 26th, $200 to $400, six 18th century punch bowls. You want to check these for condition, but they're all very well known, good looking types down there. It's like a variety pack of them, isn't it? Yeah. They have to be. Well, I see a hairline on that one. There has to be damage to these. I can't imagine anybody damage or repairs. All right, that right there, that's a water line. I've seen that a million times. Somebody kept a plant in it, and it left the deposits from the water in the edge of the bowl. Those usually will come out with that stuff they use to remove lime out of toilets. Very often that removes it. Um, Check them out for condition. They look pretty good. And if they're in good shape, what are they, about 10 to 12 inches? The smaller ones, are they bigger? Okay, the largest is 11 and a quarter inches. So these are all these sort of 9 to 11 inch punch bowls. But there's six of them. All right. And $200 to $400, even if they go for 400, that doesn't even come out to $100 a bowl. So you definitely want to check that out. Again, this is at Leonard Auction Galleries, a division of the Leonard Company in Addison, Illinois. There may be an opportunity there. And then hopping on over to this, this is a very nice, this is a 15-inch bowl, beautifully done. This is coming up at Alex Cooper's on the 18th of the 28th rather of August, in about what's that, about 5 6 days from now. This is a beautiful punch bowl, and they're dating it. They're dating it as sort of late Yung Chen to early Qin Lung period, roughly. They're calling it Qin Lung 1735, which doesn't make any sense, but that's okay. Um, Looks very good. This is a heck of a nice bowl. Yeah, and I've got emails from a few of you lately, if you're watching, that we're looking for good punch bowls. This is a good punch bowl. This is a good punch bowl you want to buy. From what I'm seeing, you want to check and make sure that it hasn't been completely restored or something. It does seem to have a hairline here or here. You want to find out what's going on with those. But the colors are beautiful on this thing. This is a really, really, really pretty bowl, and it's a big bowl, 15 inches. That's most punch bowls you encounter are 11 to 13 inches. This one's is several inches larger, and it doesn't sound like a big difference, but when you see them in person, it is a big difference. It's strange how that happens. So you want to check that out. It's got 46 people watching it because it's very, very, very pretty, and the enamels are lovely. The colors are nice and bright and clear. All right, and then over to let's see, whose sale is this? Oh, Willingwies Jaeger has a sale over in what are they, in the Netherlands, as I recall? Get the address here. The Netherlands in Livingstonweg 18 in Goos, in Joos or Goos in the Netherlands. Um, and they've got some good things coming up. It's sort of a very large sale. This is the thing. It's not just Chinese stuff. It's all kinds of stuff. But as I recall, it was like get rid of that. 1,134 lot auction. That's a pretty big auction. And there's a lot of odds and ends in there. There's a lot of European stuff. There's a binnacle in there. There's some early clocks, all this. But there's also some Asian material. There's some Chinese stuff. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. They just labeled it as a Mari. So if you go there and you don't see a lot of Japanese stuff, you don't see a lot of Chinese stuff, just hit the word Amari. Okay, and for some reason they have everything, about 30 lots listed as Amari, and they don't identify the country of origin. So this may push them under the radar, right? For all intent and purposes. This one, for example, and the sale is on September 1st. This is a very nice Kangxi period Amari palette teapot, and I don't know why they didn't call it Chinese. It is, and it's estimated at 150 to 300 euros. It has no watchers. I didn't bookmark it. I'm going to bookmark it to keep track of it. There we go. Now it's got one watcher, me. Uh, that's like a no-brainer. That's a good-looking pot. But what they did was, by not putting the country of origin in and just using the word Amari, the only way anybody's going to find this thing is if they scroll through it. They use teapot as a search term, and they scroll through every teapot on the internet to find it, or they put in the word Amari, of which you get back 400 or 500 returns on that search, and you're going to have to fish through it, through all the English Amari pattern stuff and the Japanese Amari pattern stuff to find this. So they're giving a lot of your potential buyer an advantage. This they label just as Amari, and clearly it's a very nice 18th century, early 18th century dish with beautiful gilding on it. It looks to be in great condition. For what I can tell, it's probably a Kongshu example. Very, very nice plate, and it's fairly large, as I recall. It is 39 centimeters, so it's about 14, 15, 4, 3, 15 and a half, 16 inches in diameter. It's got a 3 to 600 euro estimate, 200 euro opening bid. As always, check and get any sort of condition report. It says it's got a chip and a hairline, which I can't see in the photo because they photographed this very, very white porcelain against a white background. But it's a good looking plate, and there are about 30 of them in there, as I said. So go through it, have a look. They've got some very refined pieces. Most of the ones that under the Amari section seem to be all 18th century. So do check that out, and then over to Heritage. And Heritage has been trying hard to build up their Asian department over the years. They were pretty rough a few years ago when they came out. They were missing a lot of stuff, and when they really started getting into the Chinese and Japanese art market. But I think they're making a genuine effort to make a real presence in that. And those of you who don't follow Heritage, they are now the third largest auction house in the United States after Sotheby's and Christie's. They have grown into a monstrously big auction house. They were originally in Texas. They were mostly their root origin is what I remember them from 25, 30 years ago when they were getting going. They may have been there longer than that, but I didn't hear of them until probably the late 80s, I guess it was. And they were doing mostly collectibles online, auctioning baseball cards and rare coins and hunting stuff, that sort of thing. Not too heavy into the antique world, but they've slowly expanded, and I think they've done a fairly good job. They've got to work. There's one lot that's very problematic, and I don't even know why they put it in the sale, but they did. But there's also this. This is a nice looking, incise, decorated celadon bowl on a very attractive stand. I think that stand is worth about $500 or $600 at least. And then you have this very nicely done carved celadon lotus bowl. Click through it. There's the bottom of it. Looks like a Long Quan example to me. Nice soft green color. Estimate $6,000 to $8,000 with a $3,000 opening bid. It's only got 5 people watching it. The sale is on September 16th. Sales in about 3 weeks. And it measures 8¼ inches in diameter. And they're dating it as Young Lo to Joindet period. Yeah, it could be, possibly. But buy it as a bid on it as a circa 14th century celadon in general. All right, and then there's this very, very rare example of coral of the Guanyins and so forth standing in what looks like a root boat on a very nice stand. This is a late. This looks like a late 19th, early 20th century example to me, but the details are exceptional. It is beautifully carved. This is a very, very, very. It's one of the most intricately carved ones I've seen in a while. It's extremely fine. There's the back of it, fully finished out, fully polished. Phoenixes ascending all over the place. Beautiful flowers, rooty looking branches and trees, and it measures 14 inches. So this is a big one. This is a very big, rare piece of coral. It's estimated at 10 to 15,000 with a $5,000 opening bid. And as I said, the sale's on the 16th. And there's this nice Wanli bowl with an unusual interior. You see these bowls, we see them in Europe and the Netherlands and Holland, up in that part of the world. They turn up fairly often. And some of them are fairly good size. Typically, they are somewhere between 12 and 15 inches in diameter. This one is basically 13 and a half inches in diameter. And as you can see, it's a fairly typical one. And the thing to look out for on all of these bowls is hairlines. They were very prone to hairlines, it seems. Every time you see one of these, it's got a hairline in it. But the decoration on it is quite good. The decoration is quite good, and the center figure of the a woman behind the balustrade here is a rather unusual setter for one of these bowls. It's an unusual subject matter to have in there. Usually, it's sort of a repeat of the rest of the pattern, or something more typical of Wan Li. This isn't. This is a bit unusual. It's quite a nice bowl, and the estimate is very reasonable: $800 to $1,200 with a $400 opening bid. The bowl shows scattered areas of flakes, rim chip. Uh, okay, there's a subsequent area of repair. You want to find out, as I said, they always have something. Find out what the repair area is. Is it rebuilt, or is it just a nick out of the rim? Because sometimes it's something fairly minor that wouldn't bother anybody, but they still have to call it a restoration, even if it's a chip the size of your fingernail on your pinky, and then it's been reattached. That's considered a repair. So always find out what the repair is before you make a decision to buy or not to buy. All right. And there's the bottom of it. It looks absolutely fine. So check that out. And then hopping along over to this. Now, this, before we get into that, is there something else here? This pair of vases. I want to talk about these. These are nice. Big care Kangxi sleeve vases. Probably done sort of toward the front end of the Kangxi period. It's a picture of the bottom. Very nicely done. They're not truly a pair. They're slightly different, but we'll call it a matched pattern. But you'll notice down here at the bottom, for example, there's obvious differences here. The band with the silk balls at different heights and so forth. So they were made around the same time, but slightly different size. The one on the right appears to be about 3/4 of an inch shorter than the one on the left, and so forth. But same exact pattern, same pattern. So it's a pattern pair. We'll call it a pattern pair, but very fine quality. Somebody made them into table lamps, which is sort of unfortunate. But they didn't drill them. Oh, look at that. They didn't drill them. I thought they might have drilled them. Yeah, they didn't drill them. So they're undrilled table lamps. So get the fittings off of there and put flowers in them. They're estimated at 6,000 to 8,000, which is extremely reasonable. They are pretty good size. They are both, let's see, the tallest is 22 3/4 inches in height, so nearly 23 inches tall. The one on the right is probably 21.5 inches tall. These are very nice, and $6,000 to $8,000 is extremely reasonable for these. I think they'll do much better than that. I would be surprised if they don't. But look into them, because it's at Heritage, and they're going to have a lot of people that don't look there. Now I want to talk about something that I don't understand, and I actually reached out to Heritage today and asked them why did they do this. They threw this in the sale, and this is a fake, and they called it a Chinese blue and white octagonal double gourd vase with a $8,000 to $12,000 estimate and a $4,000 opening bid. All right, and down here at the bottom it says double gourd vase, possibly 20th century. I'm going to show you the bottom of it. That's not possibly 20th century. As a lot of you right now are going, ooh. This was supposedly like done during the Yuan period, Yuan to early Ming, that general era. The clay they used at that time, they weren't getting their clay from the same place the Longquan kilns were getting their clay, where there was a lot of iron content. Their clay was famously quite white, very well levigated. This was not what they looked like. And these splashes, because these splashes of glaze appear on some of the old ones, and on the fakes they always add it because they think that that's going to make people believe it's old. But anytime you see the bottom of something that's purporting to be early Ming or Yuan dynasty, and you see this color, run for your life. Okay, it's a fake. And I wrote Charlene over there this morning, and I said, don't pollute your sale with this kind of stuff. It doesn't make it's especially with that huge estimate. And I suggested to her she withdraw it from the sale completely. It's pollution. When auction houses put this kind of stuff in it, otherwise good sale. The rest of the sale, you don't need this. All right. And if you got a pushy consignor, tell them to stick it. Auction houses have to be a little braver. They're so afraid of their consignors sometimes that they tolerate things that they normally wouldn't tolerate because they're trying to get other things out of the estate. There's some other dynamic happening, and to do it as a favor, they're going to try and recoup. Whoever bought this probably paid a lot of money for it at some point, and they're probably trying to help them recoup their money somehow by ruining their own reputation in the process. This should not be in a clean, fairly clean looking auction. This shouldn't be here. It just should not be there, especially with that estimate. I wouldn't object so much if they had it estimated where it should be estimated at three to 400 or $200 to $300 as a potential table lamp base. But I don't get it. I just don't get why they do this. This is so annoying. So if anybody at Heritage is watching, you got a friend at Heritage, tell them to yank out of the sale lot number 78090 and give it back to the consigner, or put it in the your home furnishing sale with a $100 to $200 estimate and just get rid of it. It's rubbish. All right. And otherwise, they did a good job. They could put together. They're on the right path there. They got some nice coral. They got sort of heavy estimates in a few places, but they're not completely unreasonable. And in most cases, they'll bring that. But it's just a matter of why do you do that? Why do you shoot yourself in the foot? I don't get it. I don't get it. I know I rant sometimes. I don't mean to, but this kind of stuff just drives me crazy. I can't see the sense in it. You know, you do all this hard work to put together hundreds of good lots, and then you pollute the sale with one fake in the middle, which casts a shadow of doubt across everything else. It's just a really dumb thing to do. All right. I sound like a cranky old man at times, don't I? Anyway, I hope you all have a great weekend. That's sort of it for the week. And we're going to be I'll do a few videos, get them done up in New Hampshire. They're fun to do up there. And as the house progresses, maybe we'll snap some shots of it. And many of you have seen the place because we've shot videos up there dozens of times. But it'll be fun to get up there, and bringing Buck the dog with me. It's just going to be he and I up there for a week, and got some friends coming over. We're going to cook some steaks on the porch and do that, and probably have some gin and tonics and relax and enjoy the last week of the summer before Labor Day weekend up there. It's very quiet where we are, as many of you know, so it'll be very nice, and then back at it the week after next. So that's where we are today. That's where we are today. I hope everybody's going to have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. And go back and check out these sales. As I said, the Heritage sale with this rubbish vase and other good things is coming up on the 16th of September. So bookmark it, and hope you get something. But I think in the next 10 days, as predicted, as every year, it's not. I'm not a psychic. It's just it's the pattern that we've seen year after year after year for 40 years. And now we're going to get into a very busy time of the year, September into the winter. And then it'll get quiet again the month before Christmas, and then busy again shortly after. So there we are. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. See you all soon. Leave a comment, join, subscribe with us here on YouTube. Join us over on Patreon. Hang out. We've been posting videos over there this week. A lot of you seem to be enjoying them. I'm glad about that. And that's it. All right. Have a great weekend. See you all next time. Bye-bye.